All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's time once again for the Culture Clash. I'm Michael, your primary host, your best host, the better of the two. Who's the second one? Andrew, you know him?
Andy.
Yeah. I thought I did give you a proper introduction tonight. Because there, ladies and gentlemen, special guest listeners, there is some special news. Andrew, you want to break it?
Okay. If the world was Westeros, I'd be going to the wall to take the black. I will be Canada bound on July 7th.
He had to read that. That was pre-written. You know, he can't just say he's going to Canada on July 7th. He's got to write it out and then read it.
Where am I reading it from?
What are you doing right now?
I'm trying to open the schedule because it shrank.
Ah, Jesus Christ. Just, all right, focus on the show. Okay, so you're going to Canada.
Yes.
What's the deal? What are the details? You're going to Canada on July
7th.
And why are you going to Canada? Why are you sick of Turkey?
No, I just missed my family and I haven't seen them. I got a new niece that I haven't met. She's about a year old now.
Is she still new?
Well, she's new for me.
I mean,
I haven't met
she's
her.
a year old now. I assume you can get an upgraded version. You can maybe trade her in. All right, so what's the first thing you're going to do when you get back to Canada?
When I get back to Canada, I am going to get some real donuts.
Real donuts, as opposed to what we had the other day.
Yeah.
Listeners, there's a Krispy Kreme in Istanbul. They're not so common, and they're expensive.
Hell of
out the
expensive.
ass, but they're pretty authentic Krispy Kreme.
They're nothing like Tim Hortons.
Okay, so you're looking forward to Tim Hortons. What's the best thing about Canada? Is that Tim Hortons for you? That's the best thing about Canada?
Well, no, you got Tim Hortons, you got hockey.
Because, you know, Tim Hortons was a hockey player.
Yes.
Okay.
The nature, I'm really looking forward to doing some photography out that way.
Well, actually, wait. Are you a hockey fan? You have never spoken of hockey, ever. In fact, I think you've stated that you don't like sports at all.
I'm a Toronto Maple Leafs fan.
Oh, Jesus Christ. No wonder you're so depressed all the time. But you're not from Toronto. Why are you a Maple Leafs fan? You never lived in Toronto, did you?
No, but my father is a Maple Leafs fan, and I really find them an entertaining team.
Entertaining in what way? Because they just find new ways to suck with all the money in Canada?
Oh, come on. No matter what, compared to other teams, they always have a full loaded house.
In what? In the arena?
Yeah.
So are you ever in that arena? Have you ever gone to a match?
I've been to a game or two.
Really?
Yes.
You had to think about that for a second. Every time Andrew looks away, there's a hitch in his response. I always get the sense that he just lied to me. Because he does this when in a previous podcast, listeners who might have caught the introduction of Sasha Wong, a regular contributor to our show, we were talking about Nirvana. And I asked Andrew, kind of innocently, really, just if he ever listened to Nirvana. Not everybody has. And he said, yes, I listened to them a bit.
In high school.
So, of course, Sasha and I, the first synchronized response was, oh, really, what's your favorite song? And he had none. Nothing at all. He never really listened to them.
Until she hummed a tune, then I'm like, oh, I know that song.
Tune.
She did. Later on.
And you didn't know that one.
I knew that one.
You did not know. What was the song?
I can't remember the name.
Because he played it. You didn't know that song. You did not know The Man Who Sold the World.
Either way.
But no, and
back to Canada.
I just want to bring it up
back
again.
To Canada.
He did the same thing this morning with Moby Dick. Claimed to have read Moby Dick, and then very obviously had not, but would not give up the ghost. Maintained it for about 20 minutes before he finally admitted it was a children's version. He read it.
But it was still Moby Dick.
Yeah, indeed. All right, so you're going to Canada. So Tim Hortons hockey. What else is great about
Nature,
Canada?
beauty.
Nature and beauty?
Yeah.
Petrochemicals, industry?
No, I mean, we have the best skiing. We have the best mountain climbing.
Do you do any of these things?
Yes, I do.
You did them in Turkey? Because there's lots of that here, too.
I did a little bit, but I'd like to get back.
There's that hitch again. Listeners, I don't know if you can hear it, but I can see it. There's always this hitch. So you're a mountain climber?
I did it in South America. I did it in East Asia.
You climbed or you walked?
Climbed and walked. Me and my buddies, we'd be going through Asia and be like, there's a hill, let's climb it.
That's not a mountain.
Well,
notice the word that you used, as opposed to the word that I used, and the word that you had used earlier.
But I have used mountains.
You have used mountains.
For example,
you've used them to get attention in fake stories.
La Paz, Bolivia. I went down the old highway on a mountain bike, the most dangerous mountain pass. It was like 4,800 meters to zero. It's the highest capital in the world.
What is to zero? What does the to zero mean?
Above sea level.
So why didn't you say above sea level? What was to zero? Wait, what did you just say? You said 4,000 what?
800 meters
4,800 meters to zero. What the fuck does to zero mean?
to like ground level, sea level.
Then what does the 4,800 meters mean?
That's the height of the
I
capital.
know, but to zero. That's like saying this is 2 to 0. There's 3 apples, 3 to 0.
Somebody shut the lights off.
I know
on
they
us.
turned the lights off. They wanted to make it a bit sexy, but obviously we still have power because everything is still turned on.
Yes.
So I assume we're still being broadcast. 'Cause
unless we're
everything-
going by a generator.
Well, we're still then being broadcasted if we're going by generator.
Okay.
Anyway, all right. So
Anyways, I'm going home to see my family. I haven't seen the house in a long time, so
yeah, you think it's changed? Your
maybe.
parents do anything different?
Maybe.
Yeah.
So,
we're a little distracted. Sorry, that was not Andrew's fault. That's actually the lights are flickering on and off.
woohoo, sounds like
there's
the
some
ghost
ghosts.
cage of Saskatchewan.
Oh yeah. That's going to bring us later in the show to the really fascinating sights to see in Canada.
Yeah.
But so you've identified the best things about Canada, which
No.
is no. Well, that's what we're going with. You identified the best things in your
Well,
mind.
what I find interesting, for example, you still have like, our clever phrases like toonie and loony and 2-4.
Loony, is that a Canadian phrase?
Loony is our $1 coin.
Is that a phrase or is that
A word.
just okay? So it's not a phrase.
Then you have a toonie.
Okay.
Then you got a 2-4.
What's a 2-4?
2-4 is a 24 pack of beer.
Yeah, Andrew thought that was universal. Every English-speaking country would do the same thing.
Well, most people know what a 2-4 is.
By most people,
It's not a 2x4, it's a 2-4.
and by most people, what people?
English-speaking people.
Where? How did you tested this?
Every once in a while I say, hey, let's go for a 2-4, and they
Where?
never...
Where do you buy 2-4s in Turkey? No, you don't. So when did you test this?
Around.
Yeah. That hitch got a little longer that time.
Around.
All right.
I
Well,
mean, you say, let's go for a 2-4. Nobody comes back with a plank of wood, so obviously they understood the situation. Sometimes you have to count out like 24 bottles. It doesn't come in a box, but it's still a 2-4.
but you just in order to fulfill the requirement of the phrase, you do go out and buy 24 individual bottles.
It's a 2-4.
Yeah. What's the worst stuff about? What are you dreading about going back to see or to witness or to do? Is it the cold? Is it the winter? You're going back in summer.
Well, apparently it's supposed to be summer, but talking to my parents last night, they just got a new...
With the calendar's wrong.
They got a new
Is it not
helping
gonna
of
be-
snow.
It's not going to be summer when you go back in July.
No, there's still snow there, so...
In July, there's still snow.
Could be.
Where do your parents live?
Edmonton, Alberta.
Listeners from Canada, go ahead and chime in on the Facebook page, Culture Clash Radio.
It's generally there to end of May, but then it's... Yeah. Then it gets into mosquito season. I'm not looking forward to that.
Yeah, and we've established in a previous show, our last show, that mosquitoes kill more humans than any other animal, even other humans.
Yes, we did.
So,
Then you got to watch out for the wild polar bears, and then moose.
Are there wild polar bears in what is that? So like mid-level Canada?
They go as far as Manitoba.
Yeah. Is Edmonton above or below Manitoba?
It's kind of beside.
Is it on the same latitudinal line?
Yeah, it's high up. They come from
Which one's
northwest.
the latitudinal line?
The one going across.
Oh, okay, pretty good. All right. I was being a bit dickish there. That's pretty good.
Yeah, the one
and
going
a
across.
bit dickish. That cues up that foreshadows another discussion later in the show.
Okay.
All right. So, but what else? So mosquitoes and the snow, the winter.
Yeah, the polar bears and the moose. They're very aggressive during summer.
I mean, are you running into them regularly? I mean, are these legitimate concerns? I mean, because there are wolves in Turkey, but I mean, you got to be in.
Canada is second largest country in the world. We have 32 million people, so
That
it's
doesn't
pretty
answer
much,
my question.
It's all wilderness. You go 10 kilometers in between houses.
So, in other words, yes,
You can
you're
run
you're
into anything.
You're going to run into polar bears. You'd always the chance of a polar bear in
I
Canada.
remember I was in Ontario. I was taking out the trash one night. We had about a kilometer driveway.
There was a polar bear outside Toronto. You're going to tell me that?
No, outside Ottawa. Shay,
Okay, is that really that?
anyways, moving on. I walked to the end of the driveway, and there's this fucking wolf staring me in the face. And I'm looking at her. She's looking at me. I'm looking at her. She's looking at me. Then she jumps into an irrigation ditch chasing frogs.
And she's a full wolf or just a wild dog?
Wolf. Canada, we don't have many wild dogs.
Oh, fuck.
You have coyotes, you have wolves, and
But you don't have just, stray dogs.
No, street dogs.
You're living...
we don't have street dogs. Our animal control picks them up and
But
gives
not the
them
wolves.
homes
They
and
don't
stuff.
pick up the wolves, huh? They say, well, up, not one of ours, let it go.
Villages.
So in other words, the animal patrol are not in the villages. So you might have a strayed street dog
No,
in the
for
village.
example, it's very rare to see a street dog or a street cat.
Or a
Domesticated
street
animals
rat.
on the streets.
A street rat. This brings up a very proud claim.
Is that like a rink rat?
A former resident of Alberta sitting across from me was trying to make, and I mean, absolutely insistent. I mean, I think his personal reputation was reliant upon the claim that Alberta was, as Andrew termed it, the world's only rat-free place in the world.
With Norwegian rats.
Oh, the Norwegian, that's right. Other rats are okay. But the Norwegian rat specifically has been targeted for
Extermination.
And I think we talked about this in an earlier show. And I said again today on the bus, that if there are active rat patrols, it tells me there must be at least some rats.
Well, of course, they don't recognize border edges like, ooh, it's Alberta, we cannot pass. But the number is very, very low. For example, the
okay.
discovery of 9 set the province into panic.
Set
and
the
the-
province into, well, it's
the lights
Alberta.
are off
It's an
again.
easily frightened population.
Don't forget, no, it's not. Half the province,
Don't forget, no, it's not.
half the province burns every year. Wildfires, floods, natural disasters are very common in
Frogs
Canada.
falling from the sky. Locusts.
No, we haven't had any like locusts
Were
lately.
the firstborn male children killed every year?
Actually, locust is a concern in Alberta and Saskatchewan because it's farming communities.
Locusts is a concern?
Locusts are a concern.
Yeah. In Canada. Okay.
Yeah.
But that's not one that you're afraid of. You're not in fear of the locusts.
I'm not a farmer.
Good point. Okay.
Well, they also hire kids to shoot prairie dogs as well to keep them out of the fields.
We talked about this.
Yeah.
Obviously, they hire local kids because giving guns to foreign kids is just
You can't trust
it's a policy
them.
issue. Yeah. Did you ever shoot any prairie dogs?
No,
No, you never shot a prairie dog.
no, I don't agree with shooting animals.
Just limiting that to animals.
No, I don't. For example, if you kill an animal, you got to eat it. But why would you kill a prairie dog?
You could eat it.
Ew. For example,
What? Why do you think that would be?
my
gross?
parents like fish. We go camping, we go fishing.
You shoot fish.
I catch fish, and
With
I
a
give them
gun?
to my family to eat because I do not eat fish. If you're going to kill something, you got to eat it.
So you do kill fish, and
Yeah.
you don't eat them.
Someone eats them.
Well, I assume if you shoot a prairie dog, something is going to eat that prairie dog.
True, but not me. Why should I kill it?
But why would you kill the fish?
Because my family needs to eat?
Are they starving? If God forbid, if your family was starving and they had to rely on you to go out and bring home, game, I don't know that they'd make it through the winter.
Not fish. I'm a horrible fisherman in both the physical and the literal, the literal and the figurative sense.
What the fuck? Figurative sense? What are you talking about?
Fishing?
Well, no, I'm
Fishing
talking
in a
big
pub? Fishing in a
figurative.
lake?
Oh wait, so you said physically you can't fish. I mean, you're just poor
Fisherman?
sitting what without moving.
Yeah.
Is that the issue? The literal sense. So obviously you don't write about it very well.
Okay.
And the figmentive, was that what you said?
Figurative. Imaginary sense?
Yeah. So you don't even imagine it very well. You don't dream about fishing very well.
No.
You don't bring anything home
No.
in your dreams.
For example, I'd be sitting there with a buddy. If I bait my own hook, nothing, I'm like,
If you bait
Bro.
your own hook.
bait my hook. He
With your
baits
buddy.
my hook. I throw it in, and I get a fish on the line. It's about smell. Oils in the skin
And your oil
is
your-
not
Your
attractive.
skin oil is just repulsive to aquatic animals.
Apparently.
Have you tried it with other animals? Any feedback from land-based organisms?
Not so receptive.
Yeah.
Not so receptive.
Do you ever take a shower before you go out fishing? I mean, some people take a shower when they come back from fishing, but do you ever take a shower before you go fishing?
I've tried it, yes.
Well, I'm glad you humored me
speaking
with
of
that.
showers, our Istanbul listeners can have a chance to catch up on all our podcasts since it's given a free shower for, I don't know, a couple days now. I know us who take the Metrobus are very happy, except now the Metrobus smells like wet dog.
That was worse than how you pitched that. I mean, that whole stream of consciousness bullshit he pitched before we even started the show. And I said it was bad. And the beauty is you didn't tell them it had been raining. You didn't tell listeners who are not from Istanbul that it has been raining.
Free shower? Rain? Water?
Yeah, no, I understand.
What does a free shower mean to you?
Listeners, if you're still with us after that, or after even the opening, I mean, once you learn that this show is the special Canada-themed show, which it is, their whole show is based around the Great White North. I don't know that any of you stayed along with us, but if you did, I'm sorry. I apologize. So let's play a song.
Okay.
You want to play a song? You got something worthwhile? Something
Well,
funny?
I was going to ask you, what's your opinion on seal hunting?
Let's play a song. We'll come back to that, actually, because
Okay.
that's, I don't want to give away Andrew's thoughts or my thoughts, but they're good. But, I mean, I found them funny. Anyway, let's play a song.
Okay.
You want to play a song?
Okay, what song are you going to throw on for us?
We're going to play the most appropriate song that I think we could play tonight.
Robin Sparkles, Let's Go to the Mall.
Canada, our home and native land. True patriot love in all thy signs command. With glowing hearts we see thee rise. That's right, Daddy. True north, strong and free. From far and wide, oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land glorious and free. Oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
And we're back.
Yeah. So, thoughts on clubbing seals.
Okay.
I'm not for it. I don't do it. I'm a vegetarian, so, I mean, the seal would have to really anger me for me to smack
Club it over
around.
the head?
Yeah. And I don't even know that I would club it over the head. I did,
Okay.
smack it around a little bit, teach it a lesson, show it the error of its ways.
Well, again...
If I was protecting a penguin, that's what I would kill a seal to protect a penguin.
Okay, yeah. But against common belief, there is actually a logical reason for this besides the cultural reason stated before.
What? You didn't state a cultural reason.
No, people say that it's just because of a culture.
Who?
Okay.
You say it's common. Who?
It's a common debate that we do it as a cultural thing. Yes, that is true.
Who?
The Native Americans use it as a cultural...
Then why do you say we? Because you're not doing it.
Canadian, anyway. But they say...
Canadian or native? 'Cause you often,
they think that's
you
the
often draw a line.
only distinction. But the thing is, due to expansion, we've killed all the natural predators of seals.
Expansion. What expansion, dude? Make sense.
Expansion. We're building along the coastal line. We expand.
Development.
Development, exactly. We've taken out all the seal's natural predators.
Which would be what?
Killer whale. I don't know. Whatever eats a seal. I never really looked into it.
Then
Killer whales.
Do you know what you're
Okay.
talking about before we proceed further?
Yes, I do. Anyways, that said, seals are a lot like rabbits. Their population can explode.
They're flippers lucky.
Uh-huh. So that said that the seal hunts are actually government regulated in order to keep the population into check and balance. Now, the reason they do that is because of the fish migration patterns. It goes all the way up, all the way to China. So if
You
these
said Japan earlier today.
Japan.
Which is it?
That's one. Japan. So,
What fish? All fish?
Most fish. Tuna. I think it was tuna.
What's a good guess? that is a fish. You're right. You didn't say elephant. That's you got it at least half right.
No, it's not the elephant fish. I'm thinking tuna or salmon. Either way, if the seals population over booms, so to speak,
Over booms.
it will decimate the fish populations in our regions, which will significantly impact the fishing in Japan.
How many fish do you think there are in the waters around Canada? I mean, the fish that are going to Japan. How many do you think?
Tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands. Who can track a fish? It's like, okay, where you're going? They don't have like border control and passport
Hundreds
stops.
of thousands of fish. How many people eat fish?
Quite a few people.
A rough estimate. How many people eat fish in Japan? Let's limit it to Japan.
Okay, what's the population in Japan?
138 million or so.
138 million people?
Hmm. Yeah.
Except maybe 138. Maybe some people are like me with fish allergy.
Very possible. Probably unlikely because they would have died historically in Japan because
Okay.
they wouldn't have been able to eat anything. So 138 million people in Japan.
Yeah.
Really worrying about a few 100,000 fish from Canada, you think?
Well, no, it'll play an impact. For example, even
It's just obvious. I'm trying to lead you
hold
to...
up. Even fishing villages in Canada can see negative responses from a boom in seal population.
A booming seal population.
Exactly.
A booming, like they're, I don't even know where I was trying to go with that. I don't know. God, what is the point? So you think there are so many seals and they are decimating all the fish, deep water fish?
They can.
How deep do seals, how far out do seals swim and how deep do they swim? Any idea?
No,
I didn't think so.
not a clue.
Now,
Do you know? Tell me. Enlighten me.
well,
Enlighten me.
they don't dive as far as some fish can. Why do you think that is?
The waters are too cold and
They have to
breathe.
come up for air. That's the big
Exactly.
one. That's the
Okay.
big one. Fish, they don't have to do it as often.
Okay.
So I think that sounds very fishy as a reason.
Well, it
It sounds
follows
like
the
the
warm air
Japanese-
current,
The warm air current
the warm water current of the
of
Pacific.
the Arctic.
Yeah.
Yeah. It sounds like the Japanese justification for whale hunting.
Okay.
Are you
Yeah.
familiar with that one?
No, I'm not actually.
It's for science. They have to kill them so they know how many there are, how healthy the species is.
Hmm.
It's a culling. Yeah.
Okay.
There's-
Speaking of whales,
Okay. Oh yeah, that's right. There is some big news in Canada. Actually, this is big
Very
news.
big
Very
news.
big news. 78 feet of news. Several 9 blue whales washed up dead off the shore in East Coast Canada.
how many?
There were 9 were found,
Okay.
which the article reported was 5% of the
Blue whale
population,
population.
Which I don't know where they get that number.
But that said,
There's obviously more than that, but
a whale, that's a big carcass. Generally, they sink to the bottom of the
Such a-
water, but
such a fucking astute observation. What do you mean they normally sink to the water?
Well-
Over time they do, not immediately.
no. Over time, they generally do. But when they wash up onto shore, that's a big thing. You got disease risk. You got smell. Apparently, they fill up with gases and can pop.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you don't want to poke one with a stick.
Yeah, so this was where? This was Trout River.
Okay.
Yeah, right around the mouth of Trout River.
So the disposal of this carcass can cause some problems.
It's very expensive. This was apparently, there's several washed up around a very small township. And the national government said, well, it's the local government's issue, and local government said, we don't have any means to deal with this.
We can't afford it.
Yeah. So they were looking at whale carcasses for the whole summer.
Yeah. Kind of smelly.
But then I guess one of the museums in Toronto, no, the Royal Museum, which I assume is in Toronto, because isn't that where the Canadian Royals live? The King and Queen of Canada? They're in Toronto,
Royal
right?
Museum, that might be Ottawa. Nay, say I don't remember. right
Wherever
now.
the King and Queen live. So they thought...
Where,
they'd
what?
send-
King
they'd
and
send,
Queen? The King and Queen of Canada. What is this?
I don't know. You tell me. It should be pretty self-explanatory. So, don't you have a what is it? A constitutional monarchy, right?
To the British Queen.
Okay. Where does she live?
We don't have our
Where
own
does she
queen.
live? She lives in Toronto?
No, she has a Buckingham Palace in England.
Good to know. So this museum decided to send some people over to collect them. And what's funny is that after kind of bitching about it, the township decided to change their tune. several people said another town in the area had a humpback whale wash up dead once, and some local guys, local artisans, spent a week cutting it up, drying it out, and put the bones on display. Apparently, it took like a year to put the bones in order and display because apparently they were not cytologists.
Mm-hmm.
And they made a tourist attraction out of it. It gets several thousand people a year. So this small town near the Trout River is thinking the same thing, that we got some blue whale bones.
We can
we'll
make
become,
additional
a big
income.
a tourist mecca, for whale lovers and lovers of dead whales.
Intriguing. Mind you, they did have to give a couple bones to the museum, I think.
Well, they're trying to fight to keep any of the bones because the museum is thinking of taking them all.
Okay.
And apparently it takes a full week to gut. I mean, basically to do what they used to do on whaling ships. They got to strip the blubber, strip the skin,
remove the organs,
remove all the muscles, all the all the fleshy material. They got to treat the bones somehow because they got to separate the bones. So they got to. Yeah, it's a full week-long process, and apparently you got to get right on in there. So you got to have a strong stomach, Andrew. It's going to take a little while. When you get into, you got a job lined up when you get back to Canada? There might be an opening.
Not yet.
There might be an opening. Where you going to the East Coast or?
No, I'm from the East Coast, but I'm going to Edmonton, Alberta. Well, actually, Fort Saskatchewan.
Fort Saskatchewan.
We still have forts in Canada.
Oh well, obviously you got to protect yourselves against the polar bears.
Yes, exactly.
If they ever united as as a single, what in your this TV show of yours, this Game of Thrones, isn't that like some kind of polar bear monster that lives in the Great White North?
Polar
in
bear
the snow?
monster.
These snow monsters in the north?
You mean like a Yeti?
I guess.
Or Bigfoot?
No, in your Game of Thrones.
Oh, no, that was White Walkers.
Yeah, well, it's
The
polar
undead.
bears, obviously polar bears.
Well,
because
the
it's
thing
based
is,
off of
if the
fact.
polar bears ally with the evil penguins, we're done.
How many penguins are in Canada?
I don't know. I've never stopped to count.
Have you ever seen one?
No.
Uh,
I'm sure there's some up in the Northwest Territories.
well, I'm pretty sure they're not.
Well, close enough to Arctic, maybe.
Why do you think I'm so sure that they're not in Canada?
Why are you so sure?
Because they live in the southern hemisphere.
Ah, but we have a couple in the local zoos.
You're right. Yeah. In the zoos. Did you ever see one in the zoo?
Yes, of course.
I just asked you, have you ever seen a penguin? You said no.
I thought you meant in the wilds.
I did, but
Okay, then they might unite with the beavers. The beavers are actually industrial, so if the polar bears unite with the beavers, they could make like siege equipment and like
siege equipment.
Siege equipment.
Siege equipment. Okay.
And like defensive structures and
Yeah.
God help if they organize.
Yeah, if they unionize. Yeah.
But
What else? What else is there to see in Canada? You're going. What kind of tourist sites? Maybe there's some people from Turkey who are going to miss you so much they want to come visit. What are they? What is
Okay.
it? What are you going to show them?
well, they're going to see Magnetic Hill for sure.
What is Magnetic Hill?
Magnetic Hill is from my home province, New Brunswick. So apparently it's a optical illusion where you drive down a hill and then you get the optical illusion of going back up the hill backwards.
So think about what you just said. You drive down a hill, and then you get the optical illusion of going back up the hill when you go back up the hill. So maybe you didn't drive down the hill the first time.
It pulls you down the hill. Momentum gravity. I'm confused. Please help me out.
I know. This is why, if you ever go to visit Andrew in Canada, go with him. You went there as a kid.
Yes.
What happened? You were telling me about it on the bus, to the amusement of everyone on the bus.
I had my head stuck in a black garbage bag.
And it wasn't that, he or his parents were just trying to end everybody's suffering. You were just vomiting constantly, huh?
Yes.
Yeah, and that's why you really want to go back and check it out again?
Well, I'm fine now, but maybe.
Maybe. Maybe what? Maybe you'll lose it again?
Yeah, because of the optical illusion aspect.
Yeah.
But
You told me.
there was a time before the age of 12 where I could not go in a car for more than 5 minutes without vomiting constantly.
See, and this is the best part, because I was going to say that, and I felt kind of cheap that I was going to report it, because, you had said it before off air, and I just found it so ridiculous. But you saved me that guilt, because you said it yourself. Imagine that, listeners.
My parents still dragged me halfway around the country when they moved.
How did you not die? of dehydration. How do you still have teeth? If
I
you
have
vomited,
no idea.
you're saying going to the market, you vomit. Going to school, you vomit.
It was bad. It was really bad. Lots of bottled water, lots of everything. Because once you give it all out, you need to put something in to get it out again. I remember that it took me a while to grow out of car sickness.
Oh, did you did you grow out of the bag? Did you have to go to bigger bags as you got older?
Yes. I remember cross Canada trip. I filled the big black garbage bags. They don't really have them in Turkey.
When they do, you just got to go buy them.
Yeah, well,
I mean, do you not have garbage bags at home?
we use the little white ones you get from the supermarket.
Yeah. Okay.
Those would not cut it.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, no, I'm good on any mode of transportation except for boats. Boats are still no good.
Yeah. All right. Well, so if you go to Magnetic Hill with Andrew in New Brunswick in Canada.
Pack a garbage bag?
Yeah.
Okay. Anyways, what else do we have? We have the Ghost Cage of Saskatchewan.
Other things to see, yes. Other
Yeah.
things to see. Now, you'll be near this one, the Ghost Cage of Saskatchewan.
Okay, yeah?
Now, we couldn't find a lot of information. This is actually a bit of a myth we found while looking up another very interesting landmark in Alberta.
Okay, was that the natural UFO landing or like Sasquatch summer house?
Why did you add natural? What does that mean?
They said it was a natural UFO landing.
No, they said it was a UFO landing spot. It
Okay.
had been built. It wasn't natural. What do you
Ah.
think natural means? You saw the picture. It's obviously constructed with concrete, and it's got like flags of the world all around it.
Well, maybe.
It's a natural formation, natural rock formation.
pop
Yeah.
up there. But speaking of Alberta, do you know that Alberta military base near Edmonton has a runway actually long enough to land a spaceship?
Whose spaceship? The Millennium Falcon?
No, I mean NASA. It's a
What do they call the NASA spaceships that land?
rocket. I don't know what.
This is your story.
No, I'm just saying that
trying to clarify
Canada
the extent of your
actually
knowledge.
holds a runway long enough to launch and land a space shuttle.
Yeah.
For example,
a few
emergency
places do.
landing.
Yeah.
Well, maybe that's where they got the UFO landing idea from. They're like, hey, we can land a space shuttle. Why not a UFO?
Yeah. Well, the UFO one's just kind of like a helipad, really.
Yeah.
I mean, it was pretty small. I mean, I don't know that it could handle the full-size UFOs. Do you believe in UFOs? You're from Canada. You believe in auras and mysticism, apparently, and the authenticity of your own coffee readings.
Okay,
You
yeah.
believe in UFOs?
Well, I mean, it'd be kind of ignorant to think that out of like the billions of planets out there, we are the only ones that support intelligent life.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, come on. There's water. Where there's water, there's life.
Where's their water?
They found water on Mars. They found frozen water on several other planets as well.
Did they find frozen water on other planets?
I believe so.
Well, it's good that you
I think so.
reported as fact. So are there a lot in Canada? I mean, in places where there are few people, in
Uh-huh.
very wide open spots in the United States, you tend to find a propensity.
A what?
A propensity for UFO reports and sightings.
Okay.
Is this true in Canada? Do you guys have a lot of it? I mean, you're always from really far out places.
I haven't really been to Canada in 8 years, but generally we find crops too valuable to cut little circles in and such. Be like, oh
So-
my god, it's a UFO. I mean, I'm sure there are a couple. Every country has their nuts.
Crop circles, or you're talking about the UFO sighting?
Crop circles, UFO sightings, that kind of thing.
So, you just said you believed in UFOs, and now you debunk people who report them?
Well, no, I mean, I said I believe that the theory that there could possibly be life besides ours, but
But that's not what I asked you. What did I ask you?
UFOs.
Yeah, do you believe in UFOs?
Sure, why not?
Okay.
I mean, we could
But you
build
call
satellites.
these people nuts. You just
They generally are. Their cheese has slipped off the cracker, mate. They're not exactly normal.
and you're going right back to join them.
Yes,
what
I
are the
am.
last things you're going to do?
Land of the redneck. Nee.
What are the last things you're going to do before you leave Turkey?
Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to travel and see my buddies all over the country, hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully. What are you looking to do? I mean, let's play a song, actually. Let's play an
Okay,
appropriate
let's
song
get some
while
song going.
You think about what you're going to do, because there might be some of your buddies listening. I doubt it.
Okay.
But they might be. You might want to give a couple shout-outs to
Okay.
people who have supported you over the last several years.
Okay.
Any
What
thoughts?
song are we going to play?
You don't know it, and you don't have headphones, so you can't listen to it. But it's Goodbye from the Postmarks.
Oh, very nice. Let's get it going then. Goodbye, Postmarks.
Goodbye. I'll be gone when you open your eyes. I'm skipping down like a stone thrown across the water. Go now, set sail. There's no need for you to wave, 'cause I'm catching one on my own now. Don't leave a key underneath that mat for me, 'cause I won't be coming back around here. Goodbye. I'm not gonna cry as I'm hopping that train, knowing that I won't see you again. Don't leave a key underneath that mat for me, 'cause I won't be coming back around here. Don't leave a key underneath that mat for me, 'cause I won't be coming back around here. Taking a plane into the sky. I'm not gonna look down, and I'm not gonna look back. So don't leave a key underneath that mat for me, 'cause I won't be coming back around here. Don't leave a key underneath that mat for me, 'cause I won't be coming back around here. Coming back
And we're back again for one of the last times. Can you say something?
Sorry about that. Anyways, Mike seems to be having technical difficulties with his mic.
As always.
Yes?
Yeah, hold on.
I wouldn't say that out loud in public too many times.
But you do.
Hi.
You have to keep talking.
Okay, sorry. Well, apparently, as Mike asked, plans before I go. I'm planning to go along the coast, maybe do some photography. Then I'm trying to round some people up to go to the east with me, travel around there since I haven't been down that way for a while. And I definitely have to go to Ankara to visit the Trolls. Since I spent 5 years there, I got quite a large friend base over there.
Trolls. What
Trolls. Well, the role-playing nerds, the engineers, the Star Wars fans, the Warhammer fans, the Magic fans. Basically, my entire social network.
This is in Ankara.
This is in Ankara, yes.
Okay. So yeah, God, this mic is gonna be the death of me.
Okay, so Mike's still yanking his cord, playing with his mic. Currently distracted.
While you're on this subject, why don't you tell them about your the museum that you actually didn't know about? You thought you knew about, and I had to give you actual information about it. The Icelandic Phallological Museum.
Okay, when he means phallological museum, he basically means a penis museum.
I think most people would know what that means.
I didn't know what it meant.
That's why I termed that most people.
Okay, very nice. So, anyways, moving on. Apparently, this museum has such. There's
Such penises. Yeah, you can say it. Such penises.
such penises as the tip of a sperm whale penis. No, the tip of
Blue
a
whale.
blue whale penis.
Yeah, it's a blue whale.
How large was that, by the way?
God, what was it? Something like 128 centimeters.
And that's just the tip.
Yeah.
And then they have like a hamster penis, so you have to see through a microscope.
No, that was a penis bone.
Oh, penis bone.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's actually even more interesting.
Does a penis have a bone? I thought it was like cartilages, like just cartilage that.
Cartilages. And it's a hamster one, so I don't know. You have to
Okay.
ask a hamster.
I have no interest in a hamster's junk. Anyways, moving on. What else did they have?
Well, they had a bull penis, which was, I guess some people use them as a whip for cows.
Ah, made in the cattle whip.
Yeah, a bull
Okay.
penis made into a cattle whip.
And apparently that sparked the owner's interest in penises, and that's why he founded the museum.
Yeah. And they've been trying like anything to get a human penis.
Really, a human penis?
Yeah, they had an American, but they had to wait for him to die. They did manage to get an Icelandic, an old gigolo's penis.
Mike, would you ever try to auction your penis off to the museum, as little as it may go for?
No, I mean compared to some in the room, I use mine. I have need of mine. I may have kids one day.
Haha, very funny. I have need of mine, but I would never consider giving it to the museum.
Yeah. Okay.
Do you know why?
No, we talked about it off air. It was stupid.
Oh, come on.
It was stupid.
I mean, honestly, it may be a large attribute, but I don't want to be like sexified as this is my only talent and my only trait worth mentioning.
But it's the only trait you ever actually mention,
No, I have other traits I mention.
such as.
My charming personality, charisma, and silky smooth voice.
I think listeners, you know the value of those claims. All right, so we want to get to speaking. We want to kind of move on, and your need to talk about your dick constantly brings us to our last subject, our last topic for the evening: how you attract attention online on your various social media sites, as you term them.
Well,
How do you get these likes? Because you can't sit with Andrew for more than 10 minutes without him spending all of his time, all of those 10 minutes, on his smartphone, checking Tinder, checking Facebook, trying to see, just doing anything he can for likes.
I deny it and I regret nothing.
So what are your strategies? What are your techniques for getting
Well-
likes? From people you don't really know.
Okay, creativity. Creativity is important.
So, all right, what?
For
What
example,
what creative things are you doing?
photography, maybe different texts. For example, being a native, I could write something in Turkish and people go, "Ooh, he knows Turkish." Or cats. Cats always work. Just put a kitty photo up and you get tons of likes. Also, if you want to annoy people, you put a mispronounced or misspelt word.
You put a mispronounced word? I mean, you said or. So you have the
Misusage.
option.
Word misusage.
Okay.
Grammatical errors.
Yeah, you get a lot of feedback on those?
Yeah, grammar Nazis. I hate them. They're everywhere.
But this is your strategy, is to get their attention.
Well, sometimes, yes. It depends what I'm going for. Or in Turkey, you just put anything in English and people like it and go, "Ooh, can you teach me English?"
You get that, huh?
I get that a lot.
Really?
Yes?
Now, the thing is, you go out seeking this attention. You go out seeking feedback. You send messages to people you don't really know. And by don't really, I mean you have never met or talked to before.
But everything has its beginnings. Its humble beginnings, if you may.
Yeah. Now, how does this play off, though? I mean, how do you benefit from this? Because you put a fair bit of effort and attention into this.
What do you mean?
You spend all of your waking life, all of your waking hours trying to get likes on Facebook.
Not necessarily. I mean, I don't live off it, but I mean, I want to give the impression that life is going really good. If I do something creative, of course, I want attention for it. Be like, hey, good for you. You did something good. I mean, it's ego boosting. And
see-
you can create a social network. You can find like-minded people who share your interests, and you can network off that.
You mean attention-seeking interest?
No, I mean, for example, if you put something musical, you find people who like that kind of music. If you put something photography,
But you don't
people
know
who-
anything about music.
I don't try to. I do art. I do photography. I do this and that.
You
and
said you do cat photos or cat pictures of cats. Are
Occasionally.
Are those yours?
My roommate's cat. It lives in the house.
So you take photos of your roommate's cat and put them on your Facebook to get attention.
Once in a while, maybe.
Yeah, all right.
It's an ugly cat, though. It's so ugly, it's cute. It's got a face only a mother can love. I've actually grown rather fond of it.
It's a Persian, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what are you going to do when you get to Canada?
I have no idea.
I mean, this is like a whole new world, a brave new world.
I'm
Are you
actually
ready?
quite concerned.
Yeah, I can imagine.
I mean, I'm going to be sitting there going, ooh, it's cold. I'm going to be like smelling moose shit in the woods, being like, was that a polar bear? I mean, I have no idea what's out there.
Wait, you're going to be smelling moose shit in the woods. I don't know why you'd be in the woods. You're going to smell moose shit and ask yourself, was that a polar bear?
No, you got the moose shit, you got the polar bears, you got the wolves, you got like cold. And you, for example, one of the reasons I'm going back is to get my driver's license. I don't have a driver's license now.
How scary is that?
It's very scary. But the thing is, everything is like 10 kilometers apart from each other. So that means I'm going to be doing a lot of walking time or like bicycle time to get anywhere.
Or moose riding, obviously.
Moose riding, maybe.
But how are you going to get attention on Facebook in Canada? What you got any strategies set up? I mean, pictures of cats might still work, but writing in Turkish probably not.
Well, it depends who I'm trying to get attention from, where my audience base is.
Yeah.
Because I got no audience base in Canada. I got a couple friends in Canada, but we're not as close as we were before. It's one of those situations.
Are they in the area that you're moving to?
No, they're across the country. 7 days by car.
7 days by car.
7 days by car, 8 hours a day.
So it's like if you had a job driving a car, it would take you a week to get there.
Yes.
I mean, because obviously, if you don't have a job, why would you stop after 8 hours?
Well, no, I mean, that's the legal limit, but you can go for 10 or 12.
What do you mean the legal limit?
For example, any kind of transport company cannot drive more than like 8 hours a day.
Again, so as I said, if you're working.
Okay, yes.
your
If you're
job-
working.
If your job is to drive a car,
I think you can do it in about 4 days. More than 8 hours.
yeah, you can. I think it's based off of the number of hours that in that week.
But either way, it does take quite a few days. Couple days. More than 2. Even if you go like full blast, non-stop.
It's a big country.
Yes,
Are
it
you
is.
ready? Are you ready?
It's a brave new world out there.
Is that a yes or a no?
That's a no.
Yeah.
I
So,
mean,
I mean-
I've lived here the past 7 out of 8 years. When I went back before, I couldn't really adapt. So I'm just hoping maybe I could adapt a little more.
Are you going to still be culture clashing over there? You
Yes, we do plan to continue this escapade with podcasts.
planning? Well, yeah. I don't always mean with the podcast. I mean, the podcast is kind of a representation of the life here, the life of clashing with the other cultures. And so I'm asking you, when you go to Canada, are you expecting to be clashing with the local culture?
Probably yes.
Yeah, what is it like there? Where are you going? What are the people like?
Well-
In Fort Saskatchewan, I know a woman from Saskatchewan, and
Okay.
she's just lovely. I can't imagine that you'll have any problems when you get there.
Well, no, I mean, it depends because it depends if the people traveled. Because when I went before into Edmonton, half the people I met have never left the country. They could not understand why I would leave the country or why for so long. And they had no general interest besides like the local bar life and work.
And you don't think you can fit in with that?
No, not really. I mean, I can't even fit into the bar scene here. I don't like the bar. But no, I mean, for example, it's tight-knit communities. So a lot of people are with the same group they've been with for 10, 14, 15 years. It has not changed. It's very hard to break into a group like that.
Yeah.
So you can work with someone for a year, but they'd never invite you out for a drink. You'd always be a coworker. There's always that distance. So it's very hard to actually meet people and become friends with anyone.
I think another transition for you is going from the big city back to a really small hamlet, really.
Yeah, no, I don't know what I'm going to do. I haven't really considered it because it took me 2 years to adapt to Istanbul. I remember when I came here, I'm looking around like, oh my God, how am I going to survive? What is this? Every once in a while I go back to Ankara and I'm like, oh, it's too quiet.
Yeah, I
There's
mean,
nothing to do.
I think you're going to have to maybe move to Toronto or another big city or Vancouver or something. If you plan to stay, you've got to be in a bigger place.
Well, actually, if I do stay for a bit, I'm trying to get on to the work camps to get...
Are these like the chain gangs, the criminal work camps?
Well, no. A work camp is a basic campsite off in the middle of nowhere where they drill for oil or do construction. It's generally 10 on, 7 off, 24 on, 7 off. So basically, you go there, you work 10 days straight, you get a week off. It pays very well, but that's because there's nothing in the area. There's no villages, there's no towns, there's no cities.
It's just it's pure work is what it is.
It's pure work. You're in the middle of the mountains or the middle of a forest or the middle of the tundra and you're like, okay, let's get to work.
Have you ever done anything like that before? Have you ever done serious physical labor before?
Little bit, not to that extent though.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's pretty extreme.
No, I mean, like, for example, I did cadets, if you know what that is. I was part of the...
Yes, you told me about your high school ROTC. Is that what you're going to equate with hard physical labor?
Well, no, I was in the physical fitness program, so we're doing, like, physical fitness throughout the entire summer in Vernon, where it was, like, 30 degrees hot.
30 degrees, huh?
I mean, you were, like, sweating, but... no, I've done short spurts of construction, like help put a roof on a house kind of thing, but nothing solid, 2 weeks solid kind of thing. I'm not afraid of manual labor. I've done it, but nothing to that extent.
So it sounds like you should be a little bit afraid of that level of manual labor.
No, I'm just hoping I could put on some weight and bulk up and come back and be like, look how sexy I've gotten. Look at my body. I've upgraded, ladies.
You mean come back to Turkey?
Well, maybe. I mean, either way, I want to upgrade from this to wow.
Well, that's funny because you were telling me, you actually told me several times in the last couple of weeks. I don't know why. A lot of it was, unsolicited. But you like to tell me that most women find you very attractive, and those are your words. Those are your exact words.
Yes. What can I say? If you got it, you got it. But I'd like to raise the bar a little. I mean,
so what are women going to do? I mean, if you're already very attractive to almost all women...
a vast majority find me cute.
Well, I think you're selling yourself a little short now on radio. You're a little nervous.
No.
You're trying to be humble. Is what you're trying to be.
Yes, exactly. Humble. I mean...
a little bit sexier even.
First glance, they really find me attractive. First glance.
Yeah. What happens after they talk to you? For just a little bit of time.
I don't know what I do, but it's like instant repellent. Yeah.
We should bottle it.
Huh?
We should bottle it.
Exactly.
Someone might need it. We want to finish up our show with an appropriate song, and we've actually had a pretty good run of appropriate songs. I want to apologize for the microphone because this is annoying me. It's got to be annoying to Sasha. Probably
And
nobody else. I don't know that anyone
our
else
other
is still
listeners.
listening. We don't have any.
Well, no one wants to sit here and wait for you to fiddle with your mic, Mike.
Yeah, that's like that's like the fifth or sixth dick joke you made with mics. I mean, I like to think that you have something else you can go with, but I know better.
Yeah.
So let's end the show with.
Well,
a
I mean,
song.
it's easy.
And you always do go for the lowest hanging fruit. That
Not
should be your nickname.
necessarily.
Andrew, lowest hanging fruit.
No, I mean,
SD.
if you got low-hanging fruit, you can use that to entertain yourself for a while as you try to contemplate how to get the high-hanging fruit.
So yeah. App.
Shiny distraction while you work for greater, loftier goals.
So you tend to find distraction to be helpful when you are aspiring to loftier goals. And
Yes, it helps. It keeps the morale up. It keeps the strength up.
It's a good point. So that'll be it for us tonight. We're going to play one last song and turn it over to whoever is next. I don't know what's going on outside in the other part of the studio.
They appear to be watching a movie.
Yeah, it's a party here. They had a whole lot of concerts and it was raining today, as Andrew alluded to, and so I think they've got to find something to do with their time, and they're just stuck on
Exactly.
campus. So check the podcast for tonight's show if you are masochistic enough to want to listen to it twice. Check the podcast for all our podcasts, our special podcasts, broken up by the best of Culture Clash.
The best of the best.
Yeah. If you haven't already heard, we did a Desert Island Culture Clash. People really seem to like that.
Yeah.
One guy told me, and I take that to be representative of all listeners. So check out on the web, and we'll see you next time. We're going to leave you with Blonde Redhead, Dr. Strangelove. Andrew, last words.
I don't know, Dr. Strangelove. What's a blonde redhead? Wouldn't that be a blonde or a redhead or like cherry blonde?
That's something for the next show.
I'm very confused. Anyways, as we switch off, have a good night, Istanbul, and whoever else is listening.
Looking at me